Hello, it's Fawlty here, and you join me as I'm grinding away to level 60 for my final trophy and the platinum on Ys Origin. With a playtime of 203 hours, it's been a challenge, and not just in terms of difficulty, but I'll get to all that later. First, what is Ys Origin? I'd never heard of it, can't even remember buying it, but believe it or not, this is a long-running series that originated back in 1987, the same year as the first Final Fantasy and a year after Dragon Quest. All three come from Japan, but unlike the other two very well-known franchises, Ys seems to have flown largely under the radar in the West. Ys Origin was released in Japan on PC in 2006, with an English version in 2012 and the PS4 in 2017. It's an action RPG, and as the title suggests, is a prequel to the other titles. The story goes that the land of Ys is ruled by twin goddesses Rhea and Fina and a bunch of priests. They have a powerful artifact called the Black Pearl, which grants everyone magical powers. One day, possibly a Tuesday, a gang of demons showed up looking for the Black Pearl. So many in fact that they couldn't be fought off, and everyone had to retreat to a temple at the top of the tallest mountain. From there, the goddesses used their powers to tear the temple from the ground and rise it skywards away from the demons. But, undeterred, they built themselves the Devil's Tower in order to attack. At this point, the goddesses disappeared with the Black Pearl without telling anyone why or where. Defenceless, the priests organised a search party to go back to the surface to search for them, and once there, they realised the only place they could be is the Devil's Tower itself. And that's where we now come in. You get to join the action as one of two characters, Unica, an axe-wielding warrior, or Hugo, the missile-firing magician. Once you complete the game with either character, a third is unlocked, Hugo's brother Toll, the rapid-moving, rapid-striking Clawman, as he's known. Your goal is to progressively move up the tower, taking down enemies and bosses alike in order to save the goddesses. The combat is easy to get into, it's fast, fluid and uncomplicated. A jump button and an attack button, with skills and a boost being unlocked as you progress through the game. Killing enemies gives XP that work towards levelling up, and what I love is that levelling up makes a huge difference, especially when you face a boss. It's amazing the difference just one level can make. I started with Unica, who in my opinion was both the weakest character and the most annoying. She loves everything, constantly being nice, telling people she couldn't have done anything she's done if it wasn't for their help, even though you take down the entire tower on your own while they're all one step behind, panting and out of breath. Hugo is far easier to use, fighting from range with his wand and floaty eyes, and after using Unica the game felt like a breeze. He spends most of his time grumbling about his brother. My favourite character was Toll. Having mained a rogue in World of Warcraft for many years, I like Toll's speed and dash attack, but he certainly faces the biggest challenges in the game. The combat instantly appealed to me, which is what made me choose this as a milestone 150th platinum, and what a platinum it turned out to be. With a rarity on PSN profiles currently sitting at 2.68%, you know this is going to take some effort. But what makes this platinum ultra rare? First, you're going to need to complete the game with all three characters on normal mode or higher. Normal is advised, as any lower than that will not unlock their respective trophies for completing the game. It's probably going to take an average of 10 hours per character to complete, with your first run taking longer as you get used to it and subsequent playthroughs being a lot faster. Once the game has been completed with all three, the Nightmare mode is unlocked. Before touching Nightmare though, I'd advise aiming for the trophy Arena Master, which is to complete all 6 levels of the arena on Nightmare difficulty. It will also give you an idea of the step up you're facing, going from normal to Nightmare in story mode. When this is done, you want to switch your attention to the Blight of Blood arena on normal mode to acquire the SP you need to purchase the extra modes for each character. Follow the tactic in this video, and if you're fast, you should be able to complete each run in under a minute. When they are all unlocked, it's time to face Nightmare. Now you're going to need to complete the game on Nightmare mode with all 3 characters using their EX versions. The reason for this is so it'll unlock the Unica school outfit, which ultimately leads to the Shoplifter trophy. At this point, you've done 6 full playthroughs and you're probably left with just 2 trophies. Reach maximum level 60 and boss rush mode, and these 2 I'd like to talk about in a little more detail because both are unpleasant in different ways. For boss rush, you have to clear every boss specific to your character back to back in one sitting. On Nightmare, unlike playing the game normally and being able to level up by grinding mobs to make the boss easier, now it's set at a specific level outside of your control. Luckily, you can retry as often as you like, and if you can't do it all in one go, then feel free to put your console in rest mode and continue later. Nightmare should be enough of a challenge as it is, as each boss is no pushover. But that's not the half of it. You see, there's a huge issue with this game that needs to be talked about, and it's this. The retry button. I have never experienced so many crashes in one game in my life. In fact, it was so bad that on Consclard, a second retry would cause the game to crash each and every time. Playing the story, it's not so bad, as there's a save point before the boss, so you simply need to reload the game. And I had hoped that the issue was confined to the story, but no, it's present in boss rush. Imagine having fought your way to the final boss after 2 hours only for it to crash. It really is unforgivable. It's present on the PC and it's been transferred to console. For the life of me, I can't understand why they haven't fixed it. It's such an obvious problem. I can only guess that it was just too much of a technical problem that they didn't have the understanding to find a solution. So, is there a workaround? After the game crashed on me twice, I turned to the forums where many people were frustrated and trying to find an answer. I read that one alternative was to put your console in rest mode after you've done a couple of retries. I tried that, but it didn't work. At this point I had resigned myself to just keep improving slowly but surely until retries weren't an issue. But then I read another post saying to uninstall the game and reinstall it. Although sceptical, this actually worked for me. My final playtime was just over 6 hours, which obviously contained a lot of retries. My only guess is that story mode somehow affects the retry button, as after reinstalling I just did boss rush and nothing else. I hope if you're experiencing issues with this, an uninstall and install fixes the problem for you too. Finally, is the grind to level 60, and in all honesty, this was so dull that on some occasions I would fall asleep doing it. There is one room you need to run through that will maximise the XP you receive. The lower the difficulty, the more XP you receive. Some say to do this on very easy, but that would mean doing another full run through, so instead I opted to continue my save from a normal playthrough. After finishing the game with Toll, who is best suited to this task, I was at level 51 and roughly 7.5 hours playtime. Getting to level 60 took an additional 15 hours. 15 hours of farming the same room over and over. To give you an idea of the grind of just the last 2 levels, at level 58 you need 17,540 XP to hit level 59. The most XP you receive from a single enemy is from the Knights at just 6 XP. One optimised run through of the room, killing every enemy, takes just over a minute and will give you between 95 to 96 XP. And that's ensuring that you have your XP multiplier up to the maximum 1.99. If you're fast enough at math, you will have worked out that you will need to run through the room 183 times. And if you're not good at math, well, it's still 183 times. From level 59 to 60, you need 17,845 XP. Not much of a difference, you'd say, except the XP given is now less, with the Knights only giving a maximum of 4 XP, and the room a total of 64 XP, meaning you need to run through it 278 times. So that's 461 run-throughs of the room, and that's just from level 58 to 60. You've got the grind up to then too. It's tedious and unnecessary, but it finally earned me the platinum. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. I love the gameplay despite it beginning to feel repetitive. It just had a flow to it that worked for me, but the excessive game crashes and long grind to level 60 unfortunately took the edge off what would have been one of my favourite games. I hope this helps in some way if you're contemplating going for the platinum. I'll see you in my next video.